Pipelines act as a high-level wrapper that encapsulates underlying components like tokenizers and models. This allows users to execute complex NLP tasks without necessarily delving deep into their internal mechanics or even knowing they exist. However, for enthusiasts or professionals seeking greater control over each step, or for those aiming to optimize and customize their processes, directly using tokenizers and models might be just the solution they are looking for. Tokenizers act like bridges. They encode our words into a special format that computers can work with. After the computer does its job, tokenizers then decode the outcome, translating it back into words for us. Models are the problem solvers. They take the encoded input, work on it to produce an outcome. This outcome, once decoded by the tokenizer, gives us the answer or result we are looking for. Step 1. First, we bring in two tools from a library, the Auto Tokenizer and the Auto Model for Seek-to-Seek LM. The auto prefix in the names Auto Tokenizer and Auto Model for Seek-to-Seek LM signifies their versatility and adaptability. Rather than having a specific tokenizer or model for each possible architecture or variation, the auto classes in the Transformers library can automatically infer and load the right configuration based on the name or path provided. This allows users to work with a wide range of models without needing to keep track of each model's specific class. Step 2. Now, with these classes in hand, we need to get them ready for our specific task. So we call the from pre-trained method on both of them, setting them up with a particular version called Zenova T5-small. Step 3. We need to change our question, I love Transformers, into a special code for our computer to understand. The tokenizer helps us do just that. Step 4. With our question now in code, we give it to our computer model. It takes a moment, then gives us a coded answer. Our answer is in code, so we need to change it back to regular words. Using the tokenizer again, we get our answer in a way we can read. Okay, so for the implementation, we go to our page. We will select Translation, Tokenizer, and Model page. Of course, here we are not implementing a new AI task. We are still doing translation, but now we are going to do that using the tokenizer and the model instead of using the pipe. So let me open this page. Let me come to Visual Studio Code and open the Translation Tokenizer model. And as usual, we start at the top by adding the script tag. It is of type module because we want to use the import statement, and we can only use the import statement in scripts of type module. Then we actually import both the auto tokenizer and the auto model for Seek-to-Seek LM from the same URL or the same library which we used to get previously. Now, after that, we need to make the auto tokenizer and auto model for Seek-to-Seek LM available globally. Variables declared within a script of type module are local by default. So in order to make the tokenizer and the model available globally, I attach them to the window object. Okay, let's go down to the initialize model. First, I use the tokenizer. I use the method from pre-trained and I give it the name of the model that we are going to use. Now the initialized model is async because this takes time, and hence we use the await word, so we will wait for this statement to finish. Then we get the model in the same way. We use the auto model for Seek-to-Seek LM. with method from pre-trained, and we give it the same model, and again it's await. It will take some time, then it will give us back the model. Now the first thing I need to remind you is that these take time. So the first time you open the page, you need to wait maybe for a minute or so. A good idea maybe is that you start with all your code on the page or your elements disabled, and here once you finish, you enable them back. So that's the first point. The second point, I want to show you where I get this model. It is from the same place as before. So it is T5-small. If we go to Transformers library, the pipeline API, if we go further below, we should find the NLP tasks, and we need the translation one. This is the translation. If we look at the models, these are the models. If we search for T5, we find them here, but I think there are multiple pages, so it will be available in one of these pages. Okay, I will not look for it more, but here where you get the models from. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Now, after that, we will just do our call to the model using the tokenizer and the model. So the first step will be to get the text from the text input and store it in a variable. Then this is a new. Now what we do is that we encode the text using the tokenizer. So again, await because it takes some time. Then you pass to it the string. You will get outputted back the input IDs, which are the codes that corresponds to each word or token inside the statement. So these codes, input IDs, can now be passed directly to the model, and that's what we are doing here. The model expects a coded input, so we send to it the input IDs, which we encoded using the tokenizer. It will take time, and that's why the await word, and it will return the output when ready. Now this output is also in number format. It is not text. So we need to use the tokenizer in order to decode it. So this is how we decode it using the tokenizer. Notice that we pass the output. We may get multiple outputs because, as you saw before, we can determine the number of attempts that the model can do. So that's why we take the first one, because the output will be an array of all the attempts that we ask the model to do. Then also skip special tokens true, so there are special tokens inside the models, so we need to skip them. Now the tokenizer have got the output, and it will return to us the decoded string. So now decoded is a string that is and can be read by a human. We look that to the console, and here what we do is that we convert the decoded string into a string, the decoded object into a string, and we output this string to the output area. Okay, let's now go to the user interface. So here we have our page. I love Transformer. We need to translate it. So I will click on Translate. And as you can see, it translated quickly. Now it didn't take time because the T5 small model is a small model, and it can be downloaded quickly and launched and triggered quickly.